juicy and tender pork glazed in a rich, savoury and sweet sauce. This is my version of Peking shredded pork. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Wok Wednesdays. It's Cher here at School of Wok. We are going to get going with our shredded pork recipe. So for the pork, we just need to finely shred it down. I've got some pork tenderloin here. You could obviously use like a pork chop or even a nice kind of a shoulder steak. So with our tenderloin, I'm just going to cut them into kind of about half a centimeter slices. Just like that. And then we are going to shred that up afterwards. But you just want to make sure you get fairly thin slices because this recipe, it's going to go quick and fast in a wok stir fry sort of a situation. We are just going to do that right now. One tip also, if you find that your pork is just a little bit soft, what you can do is just kind of pop it into the freezer for about a half an hour or so, and that will just kind of firm it up a little bit for you, which makes the slicing process a little bit easier, which is something I should have thought of before we got going with this filming, but we'll get there eventually, I'm sure. So the slicing shouldn't really take you very long. So what I normally like to do sometimes is I just kind of overlap the slices a little bit. And then once I have got that going, then I can crack on with the cutting or the shredding or the slicing. So just into kind of long, kind of matchstick size, if you will, like so. Next up, we're just going to marinate the pork. It does need a little bit of flavor in there and also just more aromatics. So I've got some, a little bit of Shaoxing rice wine, just to go in, just a nice drizzle of it, and some light soy sauce for a bit of that savouriness. Tiny bit of sugar just tends to help as well when it comes to marinating meat. Some white pepper, just a nice pinch of white pepper to go in. Just a tiny pinch of salt as well to just complement this light soy sauce. And I'm just gonna go in with my hand, just start to marinate that meat with my fingers, my hands. It's always just really useful. I mean, fingers really are, and hands are the kind of the best tools in the kitchen. I'm just kind of mixing it through quite vigorously with my fingers so that the meat actually take on and take in the sauces. So at the end of the process, you shouldn't actually see any pools or puddles of liquid in the bottom of your bowl. It should be all nice and clean. Okay, just going to go around and round and round in a circular motion. Make sure that everything is nicely combined. So you can be quite heavy-handed with this process. No need to be shy about it. Next up, cornstarch. So we've got some corn flour here, just enough to velvet that meat. And once you're done with the whole process, with the cornstarch, it should feel slightly tacky and slightly stickier as well. And then finally, as a final step, I just like to go in with a tiny bit of oil there. That just kind of helps to stop the meat from sticking too much when we're doing the stir fry. And there you go. So super easy marinade here for the stir fry. Super fast. You can leave that in the fridge for a couple of hours, no problem at all. And I'm just going to wash my hands. So I've just got my wok just kind of on the heat for the moment, just heating up nicely. In the meantime, I'm just going to make a really quick sauce to go with the pork. So we've got about 3 tablespoons of Hoisin sauce. Nice little savoury, sweet combination there. And into there, I'm just going to also add about a tablespoon of Shaoxing rice wine. Shaoxing rice wine just goes really well with anything that's kind of meaty or fishy. Just kind of like an all-rounder sauce for just Chinese cookery in general. I'm just going to mix that up really well. And to go in there, I'm just going to add maybe just a couple of teaspoons of vegetable oil. And then finally, just also a couple of tablespoons of water, just to thin it out ever so slightly, so that the sauce can really kind of wrap around the meat nicely. And there you go, super easy sauce. Takes no time whatsoever. Right, so my wok is just coming up to smoking point, so I'm just going to get in a little bit of vegetable oil just to begin the stir fry. You could obviously use any kind of neutral oil, lard, anything like that works really well. Straight in with the marinated pork. We're just going to press down, make sure that we get some nice contact. So there's a little bit of browning happening there. And then just kind of give it a little bit of a stir, just to stop any kind of sticking from happening. But your wok really should be really quite hot to begin with, so that the risk of sticking actually becomes less, okay? Right, so the pork is completely done now. It's cooked through. So last thing to go in, obviously the sauce. We're just going to braise it ever so slightly. So there we go. Sauce goes in. So you want to make sure you stir really well and scrape the bottom as well in case there's anything that's sort of stuck to the bottom of your wok. The cornstarch that's gone into the marinade will help to actually coat and thicken the sauce as well as it kind of comes up to the boil. We just want to let that reduce ever so slightly so the sauce is just kind of coating the pork. You don't want this too wet. It should be a nice kind of a glaze, just coating your pork. Okay, so the sauce is definitely reduced. It's only taken about a minute or so, but you should see a nice kind of glaze just coating the pork, and we're just going to plate up now. So that's how it looks right now. So really easy. I mean, you know, without even having the cucumbers or the scallions or the spring onions and no wrappers whatsoever, you could potentially just have this stir fry on its own over a bed of rice. Just gorgeous. I'm just going to go to the trouble of actually wrapping this up in some dark pancakes. You could use this is exactly mousse wrappers. You could make your own, or you can actually just buy them ready-made like that. And all you need to do is just get maybe some spring onions in there for a bit of that lovely mild oniony kind of a taste. I've got some cucumbers as well. You could also use shredded carrots, etc., etc. And then all you do, you just fold up the end here, and then you just fold the long side up like that, and then you just put it in your mouth. This is gonna be interesting. Super fast and super easy. It's got a lovely sweet savouriness to it, really quite rich. Like I said before, you can pair it with anything. I love it on a bed of rice or even some congee, but that's your Jinjiang 肉丝. Please do like, comment, or even subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear from you, and until the next time, take good care. Bye.